Hello, friends, and welcome. My name is Popeye, and today we're playing some more Steins Gate Zero. Um, a couple of, I guess, housekeeping things first. One, I just wanted to apologize for missing the Wednesday stream. I got the ability to, well, not ability, the chance to move up my second vaccine from September to Wednesday, and I took it. um, so I apologize for that, but we're back on track. The other thing is there's now a new section in my Twitch About page specific to trigger warnings. Because a lot of the games I play do have trigger warnings, and I do try my very best to mention all of those at the start of each stream or when someone raids in. But sometimes it's good to just have that there if people are checking out the page. So that's there as well. So if you ever want to take a look at that, it is there. And if you ever need any support, I'm not qualified to support you, but I will help you try and find the local person or group who is. So hello, Samuses. I'm maybe like 30 seconds early. How are you doing? But yeah, speaking of trigger warnings, let's get into the trigger warnings for this game. This game series deals with some triggers such as death, murder, torture, rape, kidnapping. There child abuse? I don't think there's been any child abuse yet, but that could happen. All of those things against a minor. If any of those things is not for you, please find somewhere else that is more suited to you tonight. And then what happened last time? So last time in Steins Gate, we were trying to help one of our friends who had encountered someone who had amnesia and trying to figure out who they were. Well, it turns out it's the missing person that Sousa has been looking for, and we've all been looking for. And yeah, so we spent some time trying to figure out who they were, figured out who they were, tried to keep it hush hush, because you can't just tell someone with amnesia that they're actually a time traveler from the future. Usually doesn't go over well. And then we moved the Christmas party to New Year's because no one could make Christmas, and now it's New Year's, so we're gonna have a New Year's party. So I think that about covers what happened last time. Doing okay? Learning new language. What language are you learning? And how are you learning it? I'm interested in both of those. But yeah, let's get on with it. So, Myri's wishing us all a happy New Year's. You're learning Rust via the book. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with Rust. What are like the typical uses for Rust? And I have to turn up my headset volume because that's a bit low for me. There we go. Low-level systems language designed to replace C and C++. Gotcha, makes sense. There's still for sure a huge market for system-level languages, both for just programming directly with technology, and because they're usually faster. Sometimes you need the speed. Yeah, Control's that double-edged sword where sometimes it's nice because you know better and you just want to do something and the language or whatever isn't letting you do it. And sometimes you probably shouldn't be doing that and the language knows better. So it's a bit of that double-edged sword. But I totally understand that.
こっちのお雑煮も絶品すぎる。鈴葉どうだお。
Very conservative, will force you to do things properly to protect memory and ensure. Okay, so it is fairly hands-on then. Okay.
美味しいね。実はメイクインニャンニャンのお正月メニューなんだにゃ。
The Mew Years? Gosh dang it, Can we just take a second to appreciate the fact that Ferris has the thickest fingers in those gloves I've ever seen. Like, those fingers are like half her face wide. She can still use chopsticks. That's impressive. Why is it Daru who gets the line, "It's so sticky and delicious"? That shouldn't be a line. You guys know that just calling him out as a pervert every time doesn't help, because you had to think of this in the first place to write this dialogue. Ibuki was barely putting any effort into her comments to Daru anymore. A whole day of his perversion must have tired her out. I don't know, Samus, and I don't want to know. I don't know, maybe there's May Queen bathwater? Maybe that's a specialty? I don't really want to know.
七面鳥じゃないのか?
それはクリスマスじゃないですか?
What do you eat in North America for New Year's? Alcohol and regret. That's my answer.
アメリカじゃ大晦日に騒ぐから年が明けると意外と質素よ。豆料理とか。
Beans?
豆料理って響きにときめくお年頃。
Gosh dang it! What is Daru's dialogue? Like, I have no words. Daru in this game is, one, reduced to just the trope of being a pervert, and two, his character art sucks. And they're just rehashing this dialogue.
ほら、ないにゃん。この栗きんとん、おいしいにゃん。こっちの黒豆も栄養価が高そうでいいね。そんなにたくさん食べられないよ。
You can't eat all of that. Look at what Ferris is giving you. It's like this big, and you can't eat all that. As you reach for the giant, I think that's a tamagoyaki roll, egg roll.
慌てないでいいから、よく噛んで食べるんだよ。かがりさん、お母さんみたいですね。やっぱり人が大勢いると楽しいね。
Wait, hold the phone. Is Myri eating something other than juicy chicken #1 and bananas? Like, this has to be like a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence.
Ah, そうだな.
How long had it been since we'd had this much fun at the lab? No, that was in the Alpha World line. Which means this may have been the first time in the Beta World line that we'd done something like this. Party hadn't started that long ago, but evidently we were already out of tea.
兄さんが甘いジュースばかり買ってくるから。
お茶がなければコーラを飲めばいいじゃない。
おせちに炭酸は厳しいですよね。
じゃあ、俺と誰で買ってこよう。
I couldn't let the girls go. And I couldn't let them go with Daru because he's a pervert.
私とふぶきちゃんで行きますよ。私もお呼ばれしてるんだもの。それくらいしないと。しょうがない。それじゃあ行ってきます。適当でいいですよね。
そうか。すまない。助かるよ。
Didn't you just say you couldn't let the girls go? And now you're letting them go. That is what you said. Like, that is what you said, right? Let's go to the backlog. I couldn't let the girls go. Two girls say, we could do it. Okabe. Okay, thanks. Very firm on his statement. There was a very brief silence after Kaede and Fubuki left. But then someone's phone rang. It wasn't mine. I have no friends.
ごめんなさい。私だわ。
She took out her phone and checked the screen, then looked at me.
ねえ、岡部さん。今、アマデウスにアクセスしてもいいかしら。
え？
着信。あの子からなの。
Wait. The calls from Amadeus? Why are you asking us?
それに、あの子がこの状況の中に入ったらどんな反応を示すか。それもいいサンプルになりそうだし、ダメかしら。
There's the scientist in you.
ねえ、真帆さん、真帆さん。アマデウスって何かな？
Isn't Mayuri's thing supposed to be messing up the names? Nai's character model looks kind of scary. Maybe I just think that all children are scary, especially because they all turn out to be evil, like always. Next thing I knew, the call from Chris had stopped and said everyone was listening to us.
特定の人間の記憶データを内包したアーティフィシャルインテリジェンスよ。アーティフィシャル AI のことだにゃ。AI とはエンシェントインテリジェンス。
Stop lying to the children!
大いなる知恵のことなんだにゃ。アーティフィシャルインテリジェンスだってば。
自分で考えて学習するように作られたプログラムのことだお。でも特定の人の記憶がある AI ってことは、それって誰かのコピーってことじゃね？
果たしてそれがコピーとなり得るのか。それを現在進行形で検証しているところよ。
それがアマデウスってわけ？驚いた。そんなもん作ってるなんて。
ルカ君わかる？僕にもさっぱり。見てもらえば早いんだけど。
He glanced over at me.
映らないところでなら。
わかった。
She sighed and reached towards the icon on the smartphone with her finger.
スマホで起動できるん？
本体は大学のサーバーにあるんだけどね。簡易的にアクセスできるようにしたの。
Daru was staring down at the screen with stars in his eyes. Daru, please don't lewd the artificial women. As soon as I heard the voice from her phone,
もう先輩ったらどうして出てくれな。
Daru was basically drooling.
おお、すげえ。
先輩じゃない？誰ですか？
僕、橋田至。なんなら僕を先輩って呼んでくれてもいいのだぜ。できれば赤く頬を染めながら上目遣いでよろう。
どうして私が見ず知らずのあなたを先輩なんて呼ばなければならないんです？あなたは一体？
驚かせて悪かったわね。
あ、先輩、今の人は。
橋田さんといって岡部さんのお友達よ。今日はお正月でしょ。それで岡部さんのラボラトリーでお友達とパーティーをしているの。
ああ、あの冷たい岡部さんですか。先輩もあの人との付き合いはほどほどにしておいた方がいいですよ。じゃないといつか捨てられちゃいますから。
まあまあ。
There was ice in her words. She must have been really mad. If she could have feelings. Well, I guess I could understand
とい
why.
うわけで紹介するわ。彼女が私の後輩、マキセ・クリスの記憶と人格を持つ AI アマデウスよ。
You know, that dead person who you have stickers of on your phones. That person.
マキセ・クリスって。
もしかして
The Hashida family's voices rose in unison. That's right, those two knew about Krisu. And they knew what happened to her.
マキセ・クリスさんって確か半年前くらいにラジカンで。あ、マキセ・クリスさん。この人が。
もしかして皆さん、オリジナルの私のことをご存知なんですね。
あ、いや、まあ。
心配しなくても大丈夫ですよ。私、オリジナルの自分に何が起きたか知ってますし。
そうなん？
That was easier said than done.
これ。
Alright, we have a child! Gosh dang it! Daru, stop looting in front of the child, first of all. Second of all, stop talking about death and murder in front of the child, please. Now you seem to be the only one who didn't get what was going on. But for now, I was glad of that. Her words broke the tension that was building up in the room.
ゲームじゃないわ。私は AI。あなたと同じように自分で考えてお話ししているの。
っていうか、本当の AI なのにゃ。すごすぎるにゃ。
すごいのは私を作ってくれた真帆先輩です。
Everyone was staring in awe at Krisu as she answered their questions. No one cared about the development team. I started to regret this. I shouldn't have let Krisu talk here. I shouldn't have made them all remember Krisu. Alright, you can sometimes remember stuff. I needed to end this conversation as soon as possible.
ヒアジョーさん、
Don't talk, now she knows you're here.
あら。
The second I spoke, Maho emitted a small cry of surprise.
どうしたん？
アマデウスがいきなり消えてしまったの。
アプリが落ちたんじゃね？まあ、そういうことだってあるっしょ。
そうなんだけど、再起動してもサーバーに繋がらないのよ。
That doesn't sound like a good
サー
sign.
バーのデータ更新とかは？
そんな話聞いてないわ。ここのネット回線は落ちてないみたいやけど。
Can an AI server just do its own security updates? Like, it should be able to do that, right? Can still get a data connection. Oh my gosh, Ferris. And then the AI would be like me and be like, all these Windows updates are really dumb. I'm gonna skip all of them. Ferris had tried and succeeded to connect her own smartphone to the web. Like, literally 10 minutes before stream, I was just browsing Discord, and I came across... Here, let me find the thing I was looking at. It wasn't one of Mim's dumb memes. Let me find it. Here is a list of things that are being deprecated or removed in Windows 11. Start menu not resizable. No named groups of applications. Pinned applications from your current menu will not migrate to Windows 11. the taskbar is perma-locked to the bottom. So, that's all the information I know about Windows 11, and already that sounds horrible to me. The person I was reading it from, his comment is, "What is this Windows for toddlers? / Zoolander." So, that's all the information I have about Windows 11 right now. It sounds very restrictive. It sounds like they're trying to, I guess, stop people from doing stuff who aren't tech savvy, who get into situations where they're like, where's the start menu? How do I control, alt, delete, kill something? That's what I get from that, like, complaint list. As someone who is tech savvy, I would rather not be inhibited. You can warn me, like, hey, Windows doesn't recommend you do this. And I'm like, great, thanks, Windows, you suck. Bye, I'm doing it. But actually restricting it is kind of a pain. So yeah, I'll probably look into it more later. But that's all I know about it right now, and not super impressed, assuming all of that is accurate, and I haven't looked into the new features rolling out with it. Like, all things considered, I'm not really a fan of Windows 10. I feel like I've had more issues with it than things I've liked. Probably the last one that I thought was okay was Windows 7. Like, I don't know. It's, you know, when you get those surveys and you're like, how would you rate this operating system? Or, like, how would you rate this product? Like it's okay. It's like, I'm not I don't love it. Like, I'm not gonna love an operating system, because, I don't know, I want to do stuff on my computer, not just love my computer for existing. Yeah. I'll probably look into you love an operating system? Is it some form of Linux or Ubuntu? Oh, I did see a meme, Samus. I forgot to send it to you, and it was a pros and cons list for Windows versus Linux, and it was Windows runs League of Legends, Linux does not run League of Legends, Linux it is.
おかしいわね。今までこんなことなかったのに。ねえ、岡部さん、あなたの方でも試してみてもらえない？
いや、俺は。
I don't think Chrissy likes me, but before I could end my sentence, I heard a crash.
ごめんなさい。
What, no crash sound effect? What is this? Kagari had evidently dropped a glass. I'm surprised they don't just have like those plastic party cups, to be entirely honest. They don't seem like the kind of people that have nice glasses. Or glasses in general. Like, I'm half expecting Dar to be drinking his soda out of an old ramen cup. Little fragments are spread out all over the floor.
お姉ちゃん、大丈夫？顔色悪いよ。ええ、ありがとう。ちょっと疲れたのかも。あ、でも平気。ごめんね。すぐに片付けるから。あ、かがりさんはじっと
Guys,
してて。
stop standing in the glass
僕が片付け
fragments.
ますか。
Are the terrorists back? Guys, what's happening? It was in the instant that Lucas stood up to get the broom that I heard the sound. Terrorists are back, guys, and we have no time machine. Armed men stormed into the room out of nowhere. Nobody knew what was going on. I'm just gonna remind everyone of some trigger warnings. This game has in fact shot a young girl of the age of 16 in the head before. They will do it again. If you don't like seeing that kind of stuff, now might be the kind of time to not watch. They were all wearing strange masks. They were all holding guns. Wait. Time out. Time out. So, between the leftmost and the second leftmost guys, between their heads, about halfway, you see the doorway they came through. Is that a British postal box just chilling out there? That's what it looks like to me. You don't see it? I don't know if I can... I don't really want to try zooming on it, but it would be... Basically, the top of it is just at the end of my finger about... Enhance. Make more big. What can I... I can do this. I can take a print screen, and let me quickly open that in Paint. Oh gosh, I just have a man about to shoot me in the face. Okay. So I have the image in Paint. I'll post it in the Discord later. Even the enhanced version, it looks like a postal box to me, just chilling in the hallway. I love it. You've been watching a lot of NCIS. If you've learned anything, it's that you can draw a rectangle and suddenly it will clear any image. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it works. Some of them had assault rifles. Okay, let's take a look at this. It looks like 3 of them have pistols, and Skullface has an assault rifle. 1 is not some in my dictionary. And I can't pull out my cell phone. The sight brought that nightmare back to me. Yeah, this is why I gave an extra warning. There's them literally shooting Mayuri in the head from the first game. Mayuri's brutal murder, which I'd seen again and again, and again, and again. I thought I was okay now. I thought everything was over. Was this because the world line changed 2 weeks ago? Mayuri. Mayuri's gonna die again? Oh gosh. Please tell me that was a warning shot. A bang. A black hole in the floor. It's okay, that was just a warning shot. Aww, our rent's gonna get raised because he shot a hole in the floor. Dang it. But it was enough to snap everyone out of their terror. Oh gosh, and we have a child. This like I know they're all, some of them are all minors, but we have like an actual child of like 8 this time. Please don't shoot the child. No, don't do anything to tick them off. They were serious. They'd kill anyone they didn't need without mercy. Suzuha. What was Suzuha doing? It was no good. Naya was clinging to her legs and keeping her from moving. No, maybe there were just too many of them for her to do anything about. I had to do something, but my legs were shaking too much for me to manage anything helpful. That's what always works. Yell at people to calm down. That's what always helps people calm down. I'd gone through this more times than I could count. It was still all I could do to speak. Well, every other time you had a time machine. Now we don't. Whose fault is that? Ours. But evidently, my desperation had gotten through to them, because they stopped panicking, clumped together, and simply waited for the intruder's next move. I heard the sound of heels from behind the armed men. A woman's footsteps coming up the stairs. Was it here? Moeka Kiryu, is it you? Are you gonna kill Mayuri again? But what appeared from beyond the door was... I wish it was Mr. Braun in high heels. That would have been an amazing turn of events. A woman in black. She wore a skin-tight motorcycle suit and a black helmet. Remembering that the time... Was it a week ago that Susa tried to catch the person? They fled on a motorcycle. So it could be the same person. The black visor was pulled down and I couldn't see her face. It had to be her, though. But if it was, what did they want? The last time it was me, Daru, and Krisu. But Krisu was gone. That mean they were after Maho? The woman silently looked around the room, and walked over to us and reached out her hand. I gave her a high five. She grabbed Kagari's arm and yanked her forward. They were after Kagari? But why her? No, there was only one reason they'd want her. Did they know then? That Kagari was from the year 2036? Okay, even if you did know that, what good would it do you? Because this person was a child. They knew nothing about time travel. They probably knew very little about the world in 2036 in general. What good does this person give you? Kagari struggled. But that woman was stronger than she'd imagined. She was easily pulled away. Mayuri and Kagari reached out their hands, but they both grabbed nothing but air. What do I do? What should I do? If I moved, Mayuri would... Everyone would. Then, did I have to just watch as she was taken away? I let out a Hadoken, apparently. There was suddenly a scream from near the door. By the time I looked over, the second man was already falling to the floor.
Oi, oi.
You're pretty calm for a man who just took out 2 armed people. Before he could turn his gun around, Tenoji had grabbed his hand and twisted it upwards. I heard the dull sound of snapping bone. Oh, okay. Samus, you might see it better here. See on top of the Gamazon box, it's the little, I guess it's supposed to be a piggy bank, but it looks like a British mailbox. That's what I was seeing before. Just it looked like it was outside of the doorway, and it looked like it was huge just based on perspective. The men seemed unsure of how to handle this sudden intruder. One of the men decided to run toward us. Not the child, please! He reached for what looked like the weakest member of our group. Normally this would have been the right choice, but this time it was the worst choice he could have made. With speed that you would never imagine from someone so huge, Tenoji closed the gap between himself and that man in an instant, slamming him into the wall. When they saw him bounce off and hit the floor, the others became deathly pale. And then Suzuha, whose legs were now free of Nai's grasp, moved as well. She's just gone, yep. A thin, muscular leg, the exact opposite of what you'd expect to see from Daru's daughter. just throwing shade at Daru during mid-fight. Lashed upwards, straight for the motorcycle suit woman's neck. The woman blocked the kick with her arm at the last moment. When she moved her hand to block, she let go of Kagari. I reached out my hand and quickly pulled her close. Realizing the tide had turned, the woman leaped out of the lab in an instant, clutching her injured arm. The other attackers followed suit, carrying their injured fellows. In a moment, the chaos was replaced with silence. Mayuri's quavering voice brought me back to reality.
Mayuri, 無事か? 他のみんなも大丈夫だったか? 怪我はないか?
Daru, Suzuha, Ferris, Lukiko, Nai, Maho, Kagari. Their faces were drained of color, but none of them seemed hurt.
大丈夫。もう大丈夫だ。苗のことはちゃんとお父さんが守ってやるからな。
At least he's here, and we will now believe our story that several crazy people broke into our apartment and shot the floor, so that our rent's not going to go up. That's nice. When they saw the Tenoji family clinging to each other, everyone finally sighed with relief. Still...
おい岡部、説明してもらおうか。
Why is it my fault?
いや、それは俺にも。
I didn't. First, I thought they were with CERN. But if they were, then there's no reason for Tenoji to be here. Yugo Tenoji was actually FB, leader of the Akihabara Rounders. Of course, it was possible that someone working for FB, Mooka for example, had acted without his knowledge. Everyone tensed as the door opened again.
ただいま。飲み物いっぱい買ってきたよ。遅くなってしまってごめんなさい。吹雪ちゃんがあれもこれもって。あれ、どうしたのみんな。そんな怖い顔して。送っていただいてありがとうございました。
いや。
We clearly chose one of the best girls to walk home. Take that, Ferris. Of course, after that, the New Year's party was cancelled. I knew Mayuri had really been looking forward to it. None of us were up for partying after that. I told everyone I'd give them an explanation another day. For now, I decided to send them home for safety's sake. Everyone but the Tenojis walked with me to the station. Those who were taking the train home split up with us there, and the rest came with me to Yanabayashi Shrine. Daru, Suzuha, Lukiko, and Kagari were the only ones left. We got a message. Just Ferris saying she made it home safe, and using herself to thank us several times, and we cannot reply. Okay. Is this a group chat? I feel like the rhyme would be better if it was just a group chat.
つけられてなかったか。
大丈夫。 ずっと注意してたけど、おかしな気配はなかった。
そうか。
I hadn't seen anyone suspicious at Akihabara Station either. Mayuri made it to Ikebukuro, which I think is just the station, so she's made it to the station where her house is. I assume we're going to get a bunch of messages like this. There were certain rounders, I would have expected to see them everywhere. I told the ones who'd taken the train to go straight home and contact me when they got there. Several of them already had. They'd made it home just fine. I told Mayuri in particular to send me stickers on Rhine at regular intervals. And there we go. So she made it home. And now she's blushing because, I don't know. She'd been doing that, so she was probably okay. That didn't mean I was out of the woods. Jesus, the interval every 5 seconds? Okay, Maho made it home. And by home, I guess it would be to her hotel?
やっぱり私が狙われたのかな。
おそらくな。
連中、かがりたんのこと知ってるんかな。
だろうな。
I didn't know if they were with CERN yet. It was safe to assume that they knew Kagari was from the future, and that's why they'd attacked her.
ごめんね。私のせいでみんなまで危険な目に遭わせてしまって。
君だけのせいじゃない。
She was brought here from the future at a young age, and then she went missing. She was another victim of fate, like me. Except I ruined my own fate.
本当にいいんですか？警察に届けなくても。
すまないが、今はまだ。
Maho and the others had asked me the same thing. I'd managed to get them to hold off. Part of the problem was that I didn't think they'd believe us, but the biggest issue was Kagari. We told them they were after Kagari, we'd have to explain who she was. We couldn't tell them the truth, and even if we did, they wouldn't believe us.
で、これからどうする？
とにかく、連中が何者かわからなければどうしようもない。
じゃあ、私たちだけで突き止めるってこと？どうやって？
それは。
To be honest, I had no clue. The world was full of groups who would want a functioning time machine if they knew it existed. Russia, America, China, even Japan. But I couldn't find out who they were. The same thing was likely to happen again.
方法は明日改めて考えよう。それよりもルカ子、頼みがあるんだが。
はい、なんでしょう。
すまないが、今日から鈴葉も一緒にお前のところに泊めてもらってもいいか？
私がルカ兄さんの家に？
ああ、かがりを他で預かってもらうのも考えたんだが、ここの方が人数も多いし、防犯設備も整っている。
They had security systems to keep people from vandalizing the place and robbing the donation boxes. Just taking a quick look around, I could see that there were cameras. This was Kagari's idea to begin with.
かがりもここの方がいいんだろ？
I could understand that. She was already in an unstable state after losing her memories, even before what happened today.
鈴葉がいてくれれば、みんな少しは安心できる。もちろん、ルカ子の家族の承認が必要だが。
お父さんはきっと大歓迎だと思います。
That was certainly true.
私も別に構わない。
僕も泊まってもいいのだぜ。
No.
兄さんは帰りなさい。
しょぶーん。
Watching them talk made me think that things were slowly returning to normal. Lukako and Kagari's expression softened a little. Daru's usual antics had come in handy for once.
じゃあ、
Or just no. Just no,
何かあった
Daru.
らすぐに連絡してくれ。
わかりました。
Hello, Avier. How's it going? Daru and I left Kagari to the two of them and headed back to the lab.
なあ、あれ、本当に起きたことなんだよ
Why
な。
does Daru get the sad music? Just back from Din Din? Hope Din Din was good.
あ
Daru, you don't deserve this music.
現実なんだよな。
Real. Yep, that was real. I'd experienced it so many times before. Screams and the smell of gunpowder.
どうしたん、オカリン。
すまない。安心したせいか気分が。
I'd been so focused on seeing everyone home safely that I hadn't had time to think about it. But with that done, the memories came flooding back. Memories of last July.
大丈夫。今は僕も一緒だからさ。なんならちょっと休む？
I could feel Daru's huge hand rubbing my back. Strangely, it made me feel a little better.
ありがとう。もう大丈夫だ。
無理すんなよ。
あ
Dang it, Daru, don't think this one action redeems your character from a whole life of being a pervert. I started to walk toward the lab again, and Daru followed me, worried.
なあ、オカリン。
うん
やっぱさ、これもタイムマシン関係のことだよな。
ああ。
これもシュタインズゲートの選択とかいうやつ？
The choice of Steins
今思え
Gate.
ば痛々しい響きだな。
オカリン。
Was it gonna keep following me forever, no matter how much I tried to look away or run? I just wanted to live in peace. Is even that too much to ask now?
オカリン、肩貸してやるよ。
え
まだふらついてるじゃん。ほれ、
大丈夫だよ。
いいから遠慮すんなって。
ダル、
ん？
お前キモいぞ。
Thank you for telling Daru he's creepy. People should do that more
オ
often.
カリンの方がキモいっつーの。
ありがとな。
気にすんな。
Okay, now we're Lukako, apparently. Luka Urushibara was sad. He'd been sad for a long, long time. It had been a long time since he'd met Rentaro Okabe, become friends, and began to visit the future gadget lab. Itaro Hashida, his classmate Mayuri Shina, the other lab members all treated him as a friend. That by itself made him happy. He was just an ordinary shy boy, and they accepted him anyway. He was very grateful for that. But still, he always felt like he was being left out. He knew they were hiding something from him. That made him sad. What made him sadder was that he couldn't bring himself to ask them about it.
寝ないの？あまねさんこそまだ起きてたんですね。
What's got you frustrated, Samus? Is it learning Rust?
いろいろ考えることがあってね。そうですか。
Even Luca could tell that a lot meant she was thinking about what happened today. Trying to do some exercise in this one you're pretty sure is impossible. Is this one from the book? If it is, I'd be surprised if they didn't have an answer key or there wasn't one online. The New Year's party. The mysterious men who'd burst into the lab. They were holding guns. Not plastic model guns. Real guns. This is a third-party project. Gotcha. From Luca's perspective, it was a mystery how they'd even gotten them into Japan. They were real anyway. They had real guns in their hands, and they'd pointed them at him and the others. It hadn't seemed real then, but now the very thought made him shiver. If any of them had squeezed their index finger just a little, he, Luca, wouldn't be here right now. Higari Shina moaned softly in her sleep. She must have been really tired after everything that had happened today. She had gone to sleep almost immediately after she'd laid down, and her short breaths had soon changed into moans.
Mama. Mama. めっちゃ嫌だよ。
Was she dreaming of her mother?
Mama. Mayuri. Mama.
Even that didn't surprise Luca much. He'd started calling out that name in her sleep several days ago. Higari Shina. Mayuri Shina. Solved it in a way you're pretty sure isn't intended. So you're also certain someone needs to review this one? I mean, I swear, software is just all about solving things in ways that weren't intended. At first, he just thought it was a coincidence that they had the same last name, but... Okay, if there's an open issue, then yeah. How old is the issue? He almost spoke, then stopped. There was so much he wanted to ask, but couldn't. He wanted courage. Just a little. The courage to ask them to tell him. A year old? That's a... Anything older than, I would say, 6 months, to me, just looks like the developer has abandoned it. Like, or they just don't care. Like, at the very least, within 6 months, even if you were busy, you should have the time to go in and say, like, hey, I'm busy, I can't look at this. When I have time, I will look at this. Anything, like, older than that, I feel like either one, you just don't care, you don't prioritize it, or two, you've abandoned it. Turns out it's actually closed. Okay. And it wasn't just auto-closed due to inactivity. He reached under his pillow and felt something hard. It was a cheap toy sword, the kind you could buy at any store. But still, it was his treasure. He held the hilt tight.
聞いてもいいですか？何？
Suzuha sat up and looked straight at him. He was only barely able to stop himself from looking away. If he did, he wouldn't be able to ask anything. He touched the toy sword once more and slowly opened his mouth to speak. Closed by the person who opened it, and it's still not resolved. I hate people who open a ticket and then just, like, close it without saying why. I can't remember what I was doing, but this was maybe a year ago, and I had, like, a very specific error from a console, Googled it, and found someone with the exact same error message, and it was pretty sparse. I wasn't finding much on it. Basically, they had posted, you know, here's the error message, anyone know how to fix this? And a couple, I think it was like a month later, they had responded to their own post being like, never mind, fixed it, closed. And then it was just a bunch of comments after of people going, well, how did you fix it? Tell us. And they never did. It shows the exact same solution you did, but it's... Well, and until... And unless you can find something better that works, like, I don't know, this is the kind of thing that I guess would come out in a code review, but if the person reviewing it can't find a better way to do it, that's just what you have to go with, I guess, until someone else joins the team or someone just happens upon a better way to do it. The person said that there wasn't any documentation or hints and pointed towards the book and came back and said, sorry, I kept this open and closed. Yeah, no, you can leave a thing open. That's fine.
どうしてまゆりちゃんのことまゆ姉さんって呼ぶんですか？どうしてフェイリスさんのことルミ姉さんって呼ぶんですか？僕のことルカ兄さんって呼ぶんですか？まゆりママってまゆりちゃんのことですよね。どうしてかがりさんがまゆりママなんて言うんですか？
私の言えた義理じゃないってことは分かってる。
Function make sausage.
知らない方がいいと思う。
そうやって僕はまた蚊帳の外なんですか？僕だって知りたいです。僕だって皆さんと同じ悩みを共有したいんです。
ルカ兄さん、
Was able to mute for that sneeze. No stream sneeze for you. She looked him straight in the eye for a moment, silently. Lucas simply waited.
オカリンおじさんがさ、
You think you're done running exercise for night? Yeah.
私、なんとなくわかる気がするんだ。
Especially Samus, because I know you're more of a like an early to bed, early to rise person. Usually it's good to give yourself that time to wind down.
理由ですか？
ルカ兄さんには純粋にこの世界の人でいてほしいんだよ。ルカ兄さんだけは今という時間の存在でいてほしいんだ。それがオカリンおじさんの救いなんだ。
僕が救い？
No, I'm what saves him. See? Look at this. I'm the one who saves.
ああ、
そんな。
Yeah. Everyone's got their own hours. Like, I personally, I like starting early in the day, like 6 or 7 o'clock, and then finish at like 2 or 3. About, I would say 3:30, I start hitting that like wall of like tiredness. I have a coworker who, if it was up to him, he probably wouldn't start until like 11 a.m. and then go until like 7 p.m. To each their own. Like, everyone's different, everyone's body's different. You've got other things around it, like, yeah. Like, that's always been my thought. Like, if I hire someone to do a job, and as long as I don't have to physically be there, like, let's say I hired an artist to do new emotes for me. If you want to work, like, midnight to 8 a.m., like, be my guest. I really don't care as long as you do what you committed to. Now that she'd told him that, he couldn't ask any more questions. Did Rintaro Okabe really think that? He didn't even know. In the end, he would never know anything. And that only made him sadder. Well, we just made Lukako really sad, and now it's the next day. After the attack. I'd arrived just a little before I was supposed to, but the person I was meeting was already there. I had no choice in the matter.
お待たせしましたにゃ。
Although, this is the day when we get our next choice.
ありがとう。
近くの席にはしばらく誰も座らせないようにするから、思う存分話すといいにゃ。
助かる。
I sipped some fresh coffee as I observed the person in front of me. Moeka Kiryu. She was as expressionless as ever. There's no way to tell what she was thinking.
話って。
腕の調子はどうだ？
腕？
ああ。もう大丈夫なのか？
The girl in the motorcycle suit yesterday. He blocked Suzuha's kick with her arm. Suzuha had told me later that her kick had landed pretty hard. Whoever it hit had probably gotten hurt. If that was Moeka...
何を言ってるかわからない。
そうか。
This is nice, creepy atmosphere. But I still didn't know if Moeka was
腕
innocent.
を見せてもらってもいいか。
腕。
ああ。左の腕の袖をまくってもらいたい。
どうして？
ダメか？
Moeka sighed, as if she were annoyed. She didn't seem upset or worried at all, and instead of listening to her, I'm just gonna check my emails. Mayuri says, Okarin, big trouble, and we can say, what's up? Can it wait? Sorry, I can't help with that. Options 2 and 3 just seem like total dick moves. My vote's what's up, but as always, chat, any preference? Sorry, I can't help with that. Is that what we want to go with, Zames's? I mean, if that's what we want to go with, we can go with that. Apparently we are only equipped to handle little troubles, not big troubles. Big troubles require an adult. Okay, let's go with it then. I haven't said anything yet. Blah. Okay, apparently it was meaningless. You didn't. So what's up? So that was just a roundabout way of getting to... Yep, illusion of choice. Oh, if you've forgotten, I swear. What's up? It's about Nae. I thought that maybe if I told you, Nae would get mad. Does she really hate me that much? I mean, she once time traveled using time leaps, doing several hundred time leaps from when she was an adult to when she was like 8, just to like murder our friends. So maybe. She's a young girl. I think she's kind of embarrassed around older men. I don't think you were here for that, Samus's. So Nae, Tenoji, big buff dude's daughter, in one of the episodes, after Tenoji commits suicide by shooting himself in the head, Nae, from the future, time leaps several hundred times, because you can only go back, what is it, like 2 days? However many days it is prior to building the time leap machine. So she chains time leaps to go back in time from when she's like 21. Yes, this was in Steins Gate. She chains time leaps from when she's 21 to July of this year just so she can stab us and threaten to kill all of our friends. And then, of course, we time leaped so that her father doesn't die. But yes, the little girls are always evil in some way or another. Yeah, we were just talking on Rhine. I think when she grows up, she'll be a wonderful woman, as long as she doesn't time leap to murder us. I see. I can't wait. Yeah, okay, sorry to bother. But what was the big trouble? You're just like, I'm worried about the child? Because, like, is that it? Like... I mean, telling your 8-year-old daughter to be careful around older men she doesn't know is, like, not a bad thing? So, the way this game frames it is it seems like everyone still has these memories. They're just kind of like locked in your brain. And certain things can trigger remembering them, or you can have them as dreams. You can have dreams of those events happening. So, in theory, Naya could be having dreams about, her father committing suicide, stabbing us, any of those things. I guess potentially that moment of just the other night of a gun and her father in the same room and the gun being fired might be enough to trigger the memory of him committing suicide. That's enough of the right things in the same place at the same time to potentially trigger it. So yes, I think it's a very real option that she has remembered this at this point. Anyways, back to Moeka. I don't mind making you wait. She didn't seem upset or worried at all. That made me worried. Why was she so calm? Moeka rolled up her sleeve like I asked her to. Her skin was a deathly pale white. There was nothing else. There were no bruises, and no traces of her trying to hide something with foundation. I'm surprised he knows that you can hide stuff with foundation, like... I guess Okabe's really into the makeup into the makeup circles. Yes, Samus is. This is a thing. You can hide many things with makeup. Zits, birthmarks, freckles, scars, like lots of stuff. And conversely, you can put on, people do fake freckles, fake moles, like, you can do it both ways. You can cover up stuff, you can make stuff happen. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things people do with makeup. People will do things like you might have seen, like, people try and, like, make their face appear thinner. People will also do, if you have more of, like, an open chest, you can use makeup to accentuate and make your chest look larger. So, there's lots of stuff you can do. Of course, there were also no bandages. Moeka tilted her head just a little and rolled her sleeve back down. The girl in the motorcycle suit wasn't Moeka. This wasn't a big surprise. I'd already assumed that she wasn't. Come to think of it, Moeka knew that Kagari Shina was with us a long time ago. There was no need to attack us when so many people were around. Moeka had nothing to do with this. Knowing that for sure was progress. That left me with a new problem. Who was the woman in the motorcycle suit then? Daru's second daughter! Maybe. In order to allay Moeka's suspicions, I asked her for a report on her research and told her to keep it up. Then I said goodbye and headed to my next destination. It was Kurisu. Yes, the AI hired a hit woman on Fiverr. That's how this happened. This was my next destination. It took real dedication to open a store like this on the 2nd of January. I took a deep breath, steeled myself, and went inside. I expect to see a hole in the ceiling where the bullet went through.
やっと来やがったか。
He sounded like he was waiting for me.
説明をしに来たんだろ?
それもあります。
Tanoji had been really pushy about last night, so I told him I'd explain today.
昨日のは一体何だったんだ?
You sure you want your daughter in here for this conversation, man?
その前に一つ確認したいんですが。
Is Krisu's AI put into an android form using the same technology the AI was made to clone the AI, so it contains only the AI's memories to create a new AI Krisu? I think you just created a clone army, Samus says. Should I be worried? Noji always looked angry, but now he looked even more pissed off.
俺の? それは一体どういう意味だ? なんで俺があんな
What the hell's that supposed to me? Not mean. Yay for finding typos.
わかりませんか？
わかるわけねえだろ。
Keep adding more brackets.
それは
I took to see that Naya was nearby before I
あな
spoke.
たがラウンダーだからですよ。ミスター・フェルディナント・ブラウン。いや、
FB.
FB と呼んだ方がいいですか？
Ferdinand Braun. Carl Ferdinand Braun, 1850 to 1918, German, winner of the 1909 Nobel Prize in Physics, inventor of the Braun tube. His expression quickly turned blank.
てめえ。
お父さん
Naya must have sensed the change in her dad's mood because she turned
どう
towards
した
him.
の？
どうしたって何がだ？
Okay, I guess having his daughter here was good. Yes, he is still around her, and we've just called him out on it.
急に怖い顔したから。
そうか？お父さんはいつも通りだぞ。ほら。
I mean, name another explanation how he can still afford this store. Can he be a square? Or a triangular? A rhomboider? That's pretty catchy.
うん。
ほら、わかったらいい子だから外で。ああ、いやいや、そこでテレビでも見てな。な。
Naya still seemed concerned, but she did as she was told and sat in the chair in front of the CRT TV. The TV was playing a New Year's comedy
や
program.
はり娘には知られたくはないんですね。
Tanoji said nothing, but motioned for me to sit in a chair away from her. Instead of his usual yelling, he was ice cold. I started sweating despite the winter chill. And now that I brought it up, it was too late to do anything about it. I sat down in the small seat, legs tense. I was ready to run at any moment.
おめえ、何を言ってやがる。
ごまかしても無駄です。
ごまかすも何も、俺にはおめえが何を言ってるのかさっぱりわからねえな。なんだ、その FB とかなんとかってのは、新手の SNS か？
SNS, social networking service. Aha, they made the Facebook joke, finally. These are community-oriented websites of varying forms, such as registration-based or invitation-only. These sites include functions that make it easier to communicate with others on the internet.
俺は知ってるんです。あなたがセルンのラウンダーだってことを。
His eyes felt like they were boring a hole in me. They were completely different from the eyes of the ordinary Tanoji I knew. They were the eyes of a killer. A cold killer who wasn't even trying to hide his murderous intent.
一応聞いてやるが、おめえのその情報はどこからのもんだ？
話す必要はありません。
Don't let him intimidate you. You're in
いい
control
から
here.
聞かせろや。それくらいの覚悟を決めてここに来たんだろうが。
話してもどうせあなたは信じない。
そう言わずに茶飲み話としゃれ込もうや。どうせこんな日に客なんか来ねえしな。
This man worked for CERN. He was a rounder. What those rounders did to me in the other world line, I would never forget that. But Tanoji probably didn't work for CERN willingly. Probably had his reasons. At least, that's how it had felt in the Alpha world line. Of course, the Beta world line might be different. This world, he never met with Suza Ashita. How much of an effect that had had on his life, I didn't know. Tanoji was staring at me, not moving a muscle. Depending on what I said, he was ready to kill me without a word. That's what his body language seemed to convey. Fine, I'll tell you then. Let's see if you believe it.
世界線な。 到底信じられる話じゃねえな。
Let's see if he believes it. Huh, I don't believe it.
最初にそう言いましたよ。それにあなたが信じようが信じまいが関係ない。俺はあなたの正体を知っている。重要なのはそこだけです。
確かにその通りだ。
He admitted
お
it.
めえの話はほぼ完璧だ。俺しか知らねえようなことまで知ってやがる。正直薄気味悪いくらいだ。
By making Tanoji admit who he really was, I could assume I'd won the first round of this conversation. This is when things got
セ
hard.
ルンの機密保持は絶対だということは知っています。それに任務に失敗したものだけでなく達成したものまで処分されるということも。
Cern had always ensured that their rounders died. And then they killed Mayuri too.
そこまで知ってんのかよ。だったら
Oh no. He slowly stood up.
しかしこれは任務とは関係ない。
I barely managed to squeak out the
秘密だって
words.
そうです。漏洩したわけじゃない。俺は最初から知っていたに過ぎない。だから処罰の対象にはならない。違いますか？
詭弁だな。
Noji's face was right in front of me. His green eyes were boring into me and I couldn't even
だ
move.
が間違っちゃいねえ。別に俺はセルンから IB への5100とやろうを探せとも言われてねえし、おめえらを連れてこいとも言われてねえ。言われてねえことはする必要がねえってことだ。俺がラウンダーだったこともおめえが黙ったりゃ済む。何も困ったことはねえな。
Noji was looking past me towards Nae, who was still watching TV. Sides had changed from those of a beast to those of a parent.
で、おめえの目的は何だ？俺に全て話したってことは何か目的があんだろ。
実はあなたに頼みたいことがある。
Noji silently waited for me to
椎
continue.
名かがりを昨べ狙われた女性を守ってやってほしい。
あの嬢ちゃんは誰になぜ狙われてる？
わかりません。
それじゃあそんな話は受けられねえな。
娘を巻き込みたくないからですか？
分かってんじゃねえか。だったら最初からそんな話すんじゃねえよ。
すでに一度巻き込まれているじゃないですか。昨日のようなことが今後ないとでも。
苗を人質にしてるつもりか？殺すぞてめえ。
Oh, well, it looks like this is the end, guys. Stay calm. Lose it here and it's all
協
over.
力し合おうと言っているんですよ。
協力ね。こっちにデメリットしかねえじゃねえか。
そんなことないよ。
Suza came into the store along with...
すみません。
かがり。スザー、話を聞いてたのか。
Suzuha
例
nodded.
えば、私とかがりをバイトとしてここに置いてもらえれば、目を離さなくてもよくなる。
True, it was close to the lab and probably safer. To protect them while protecting Nae.
おめえらがこのビルから出てく方が手っ取り早いな。そしたら俺や苗が巻き込まれることもなくなる。
あなたたち親子は、昨日襲ってきた連中の顔を見ている。それが何を意味するか、わからないわけじゃないはず。
There's a chance they might try to kill everyone who saw their faces.
私は戦闘の経験がある。銃も扱える。 あなたも昨日見てたはず。だからそれなりに役には立てる。
Noji rubbed his temples and thought for a moment, but...
お父さん。
Nai had been watching TV the whole time, suddenly interrupted.
私よくわかんないけど、昨日みたいなことは怖いからもう嫌だな。
ない。
お父さんが守ってくれてすごく嬉しかったけど、お父さんが私を守るために無茶して怪我するかもって想像したらもっと怖くなった。鈴葉お姉ちゃんはすごく強いし、昨日も私のことかばってくれてたよ。
Didn't I understand what we were saying?
私はお姉ちゃんたちと一緒がいいな。
Noji scratched his head and then spoke brusquely.
言っとくが、バイト代は2人で1人分だからな。
渋いね。
文句が
I'm surprised they're even getting paid, to be honest.
いえ、ありがとうございます、店長さん。
お父さん。
Nai gave her dad a hug. This was a good sign. Noji was on our side. I could probably keep Kagari
あり
safe.
がとうございます。
別におめえのためじゃねえ。苗のためだ。
Nai was already happily chatting away at Kagari and Suzuha. As Noji watched, his eyes were those of a father again.
ま、こっちはそういうことにしてやっからよ。岡部、おめえは連中が何者なのか突き止めろ。じゃねえと対策も打ちようがねえぞ。わかったな。
わかりました。
It was one thing to say it, but honestly I had no clues at all. I turned to go up the stairs to the lab when Tanoji seemed to remember something.
そうだ。そういやあの連中、妙な番号を口走ってやがったな。
番号？
確か、そう。K6205 とかなんとか。
I'm trying to think if that's a code for something, or if it's one of those... Doesn't look like one of the ones where the numbers can become letters. K6205. Is it some kind of code? It's her new IBN 5100.
しかも、5を5って発音してやがった。
Fife.
どこかの鉛ってことですか？
そうじゃねえ。フォネティックコードっつってな、軍隊用語だ。
Phonetic code, a method of pronouncing letters to avoid being misunderstood on wireless channels.
軍隊？
それも西側のな。
It was the Americans.
あ、やっと来たにゃん、おかり。
Because what other Western group could they mean? Came straight up to the lab. Most of the people who were here yesterday had gathered. Maha was busy with another problem Amadeus was having. She was the only one who couldn't
みん
come.
な大丈夫か？あんなことがあったばかりなのに集まって。
Canada gets very few mentions in most things. The last thing I think I saw that mentioned Canada was Yuri on Ice, where Canada is the dick skater. So there you go. Canada is sometimes portrayed as a dick. And I'm not gonna say we're not sometimes, so it's fine.
そのあんなことが起きた理由を聞きに来たんですよ。それに場所を移すよりも同じ場所の方が安全だって橋田さんが。
昨日の今日で警戒してるところに来るバカはいないっしょ。それもこんな真っ昼間から。
バラバラでいるよりみんなでいる方が安心です。
Maybe they were right. Whoever they were, it was hard to imagine them starting something in Akihabara, Japan in the middle of the day.
とにかく皆さん無事でよかったです。ゆきさん、ありがとう。わざわざ来てくれて。私も昨日の夜話を聞いて心配だったから。
Yuki wasn't here yesterday. Yeah, Yuki wasn't here during the attack, but she'd come to see how we were doing.
でも
So she the only... So her, the other two girls weren't present. Hi, very tired. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
日本じゃなくてもあんな経験はなかなかできないよ。
That was true. Nobody who'd lived a normal life would ever see it. That's what normal meant.
岡部さんが来て早々で悪いんですが、私この後バイトがあって。
ああ、気にしないでくれ。
If you were the person on the motorcycle, I swear.
皆さんの顔が見れて安心しました。でもまだ油断は禁物なので気をつけてください。
危ない。
Yuki almost slipped as she walked past me. I grabbed her arm to hold me. You're not robbing me right now, are you? I stole my phone. I mean, that's the only possession I have, right? You can't steal my phone, I have it open.
悪い。
いえ、ちょうどここ昨日駅で転んで怪我しちゃって。
She hurt her arm. Huh. Suspicious. She rubbed the arm I'd grabbed, embarrassed. Okay. Time out. Even if you'd hurt your arm, why did that cause you to trip just now? And then you're like, oh, I tripped because I hurt my arm yesterday. We have more suspicious to extend the... Hey, if you want to get Deadbeard on the case.
その時も何もないところで転んじゃったんですよ。本当ドジで嫌になっちゃいます。
Fair enough. I'm assuming at this point that she is the person, and that was just like an attempt to be like, oh, like, see, I have a backstory, like, my arm, like, oh, it's so sore from work yesterday, see how sore it is.
気をつけてね、ゆきさん。ありがとう。それじゃあ皆さんもお気をつけて。
The door closed, and I could hear her footsteps trail off into the distance. 2 days of work in a row right after New Year's, huh? Yeah, I think you're right.
どうしたん、おかりん。
いや。
The way she hurt her arm. It was the left arm. Same place the woman in the motorcycle suit had gotten hit. There was no way.
それじゃあ早速ですけど、オカリンさん、昨日のあの出来事について説明してもらっていいですか？
Fubuki was a little more chipper than Mayuri and Luca. She and Kaede had gone shopping, so they'd missed the attack. That's probably why they were lucky not to have encountered any of the escaping attackers.
じゃあまず
Long explanation. Dara and I spent hours discussing how much to tell them. After all that, I couldn't play it off like nothing had happened. The only ones here who knew about the time machine were Daru, Ferris, and Mayuri. Was it okay to tell Luca, Fubuki, and Kaede? And then Maho. If she knew that Chrissy had completed a time machine theory, she'd definitely be interested. In the end, the conclusion I'd come up with was... I couldn't decide.
ということなんだ。
つまり、かがりさんは記憶を失っている間に何らかの犯罪に巻き込まれたかもしれないってこと？
おそらくな。
だったら
うして警察に言わないんですか？
それは彼女がひどく怯えるんだ。警察のことをね。もしかしたら警察もその犯罪に関係しているのかもしれない。
なんかすっきりしないな。
Of course it doesn't, because it's a lie. I was basically telling them that I didn't know anything. But even if I was hiding a lot of the truth, the fact remained that it was mostly correct. She was involved in something illegal, like breaking the laws of physics and doing time travel.
僕たちに手を出すことはないだろうということですよね。
どうしてそう思うの？
あの状況なら僕らのうち誰かを人質に取ることだってできたはずなんです。それをしようとしなかったということは、
This, I love the music in these games. They've had some good music. Time for a chuckle.
それについては俺と誰も同じ結論になった。だから俺たちさえおとなしくしていればきっと安全なはずだ。
That was a lie. Just like Suzu had said earlier, there was a good chance they might come after us because we'd seen their faces. That wasn't very smart to say that and worry everyone.
だから中瀬さんや来島さんはしばらくここに来ない方がいい。
でもかがりさんはどうするんですか？
それはもう手は打ってやる。ボディーガードをつけた。
ボディーガードですか？
昨日あの連中を撃退した心強い二人をな。
すずさんと店長さんだね。
Hard to say, Samus's, because I do know, let me move my face out of the way. This calendar date, the 2nd of January, is when we have something that, changes the world line. I don't know how long it's going to be until then. I just know that something's coming up on this day that will take us to the first bad ending. I also don't know how long the endings are.
あのムキムキおじさん。でもそれだとまたいつ襲われるかもしれないって怯え続けることに。
That was right. Just playing defense wouldn't solve
こっちはこ
anything.
っちで探偵あたりを雇ってかがりが誰に狙われているのか調べるつもりだ。ある程度情報が出揃ったら。
Good night, Samus's. Enjoy your evening. Of course. More than half of that was lies again. If I went to the police or detective, they wouldn't believe me about Kagari being a time traveler. What was important now was calming everyone down. From there I'd have to solve things myself. To be honest, I was sick of living in the middle of a conspiracy theory. It was the only way I could get my everyday life back.
だにゃ。ってオカリン聞いてるにゃ？
ああ、すまない。何の話だ？
Well, I don't really care about talking to you, Ferris.
黒木にも伝えておいたにゃ。
Is that the butler?
秋葉界隈で何かおかしな動きがあったらすぐ
Yeah, I
に
think
連
that's the
絡が来る
butler.
ってはずにゃ。
そうか。
あと自警団の見回りも強化してもらうにゃ。これでしばらくは変な動きはできないはずにゃ。
ありがとう、フェイリス。助かるよ。
お安い
あの、僕にも何か手伝えることありませんか？かがりさんが大変なのに僕何もできなくて、岡部さんの力にもなれないなんて、そんなの。
ご用にゃ。マユシーもかがりさんのために何かしたいな。でも私たちにできることなんてあるのかな。
それは。
Everyone fell silent. Even after all that had happened to them, they still wanted to help. But I couldn't let them be in danger. Then I remembered what Tanoji had said.
K6205。
なんぞそれ。
昨日の連中が口にしていたらしいんだが、俺にも 何のことだかわからないんだ。
ちょい待ち、今ググってみる。
Yes, to goggle! Goggle is net slang to search on the internet. Dara opened a browser and quickly typed it in.
商品の番号とかしか出てこんね。
Noji said they might be military. Might be a military code. Meant there was nothing we could do. I was hoping there might be some clue, but...
来島さん、今なんて？
いえ、K ってことはケヘル番号かなって思ったんですけど、関係ないですよね。
Really, we're not going to explain what the heck a Coachelle number is?
ケヘル番号って何？
Okay, here we go.
モーツァルトの曲につけられた番号のことよ。モーツァルトが亡くなった後にケッヘルっていう人が時系列に合わせてつけた番号なんだけど、でもさすがのモーツァルトでも6000番台までは存在しないはずですし、そもそも事件とは。
Mozart. Wolfgang A, which was Amadeus Mozart.
ごめんなさい、変なこと言っちゃって。
ダル、そのケッヘル番号っていうのはいくつまである？
Goggle it.
626番のレクイエムって書いてある。
モーツァルトが死ぬ間際に書いていた曲ですね。楓さん詳しいね。ほら、私ピアノやってるから。
それじゃあ計620番はなんていう曲だ
620、620。お、あったあった。マテキって曲みたい。
Oh, but this one will look up. The Magic Flute, an opera written by Mozart in 1791. Its Kochel number is 620. Mozart was commissioned to write this opera for public consumption by the manager of a Viennese opera house. It said that both he and the manager were members of the Freemasons, and the lyrics contained many allusions to Freemason symbols and teachings. The Queen of the Night aria is its most well-known song. It has also been turned into a movie. I vaguely remember the movie bit of that. I'd heard the name before, at least.
ちょっと見せてくれ。
Looked over Daru's shoulder at the screen. Clicked on the heading for the Magic Flute on Mozart's wiki page. So go to the... This is... Wikipedia. Magic Flute K620. Written in 1791 even. Mozart's last completed opera. It's famous for including numerous examples of Freemason doctrine and symbols. The Freemasons, a secret society founded sometime between the latter 16th century to the start of the 17th. It was said to be a union of stonemasons who build cathedrals, monasteries, palaces, and castles. Branches still exist all over the world. The organization has over 6 million members. The conspiracy theories and fiction is often depicted as a terrifying secret organization that rules the world.
K6205 つことは5曲目?
The fifth song was a quintet called Papageno, the bird catcher, has a padlock placed over his lips, and this is the song begging someone to open the lock. Mozart. Amadeus. Freemasonry. A padlock on his lips?
なんかわかりそう?
いや、そういうわけじゃないんだが。
Amadeus? A computer? With a locked password? Why did this all feel so creepy? Didn't I just talk to somebody about Mozart? Maho. Maho to use Salieri, Mozart's rival, as her password to access Amadeus. On its own, that didn't mean anything, but come to think of it, Maho said she'd lost access to Amadeus just before the attack last night, didn't she? Did you ever find out what caused it? I have to call her or contact her via Ryan. Which would be
ちょっ
faster?
と電話させてくれ。
I pull her number out of my contacts and called her. I made it through after a few calls. I think they mean a few
また何
rings.
かあったの？
いや、そうじゃない。聞きたいことがあるんだ。
手短にお願い。
Her irritation was plain from her voice, which meant she hadn't solved whatever the problem with Amadeus
アマ
was.
デウスはどうなった？
ダメ。
システムが落ちてるのか？
違うわ。アクセスできないのよ。
Which meant
何者かがアマデウスのシステムを乗っ取ったのかも。
taken over? Amadeus? But why?
ごめんなさい。もういいかしら。原因が解明できたらこっちから連絡するわ。
She hung up on me.
真帆たんなんて？
アマデウスが何者かによって乗っ取られたらしいって。
乗っ取りか。
モーツァルトつながりで何か関連があるかと思ったが。
I couldn't say anything yet. Fragments of these strange incidents were scattered all around me. That's how it felt. If I could pick up all the pieces and connect them, would I find the answer? For example, Yuki Amane's injured left arm. What did that mean? Okay, so here's where we're making a new save point. And I'm going to go and lock that save, which is what? Insert? Oh, I'd have to... Give me a sec, I have to click on this tab. We're locking that. And the reason for that is we've reached our choice. So, there we go. So we're getting a call from Amadeus right now, and I actually like the fact that the song plays even when I'm in this pause menu. So, our first choice is do we answer this phone call or not? We are going to ignore this phone call, which will take us to the first bad ending. Just as I was about to put my phone back in my pocket, it rang again. First I thought that Maho might have forgotten to tell me something. When I saw the screen, I gasped.
おかり？電話誰から？
I stared at the screen, unable to answer. The phone kept ringing. What was the meaning of this? Why would Amadeus, who'd been taken over, be calling me? Was this some kind of trap? What should I do? Answer it? Or... I hesitated a moment and the call from Amadeus ended. My phone fell silent. So with that choice to ignore the phone call, we have triggered the first bad ending.
何が起こって。
And right after that, I suddenly felt incredibly dizzy, and everything went black.
これは。
And reading Steiner activated. And changed us about 0.02. I think it took us from 1.06 to 1.08.
とサリエリ。クリスと私。その二つは私にとって特別な意味を持って
I'll move my head for this so you can read this text.
ボルフガング・アマデウス・モーツァルト。誰もが知っていて誰もが認める天才音楽家だ。正式な名前はヨハンネス・クリゾストムス・ボルフガング・テオフィールス・モーツァルト。
Geez, man, got enough names?
テオフィールスはギリシャ語で神に愛されたという意味。モーツァルトはその言葉を気に入り、同じ意味のラテン語アマデウスを通称にしたのだという。彼は35年という その才能に対して悲劇的に短い生涯の中で600曲以上の傑作を後世に残したアマデウスは文字通り神に愛され天賦の才を与えられた特別な存在だったのだろうか。私はそうは思わない。確かに彼は天才だったけれど、アマデウスにはアマデウスなりの努力と苦労があったに違いない。どんなに素晴らしい原石を持って生まれたところで磨き上げなければ宝石にはならない。彼の功績を天賦の才によるものと片付けてしまってはその努力と苦労に対して失礼だ。しかしそれは同時にモーツァルトになるためには彼と同等の原石
Gosh, dang game, making me move my head even more.
ないだろうか。この世界にはそういう原石を持っている人がたくさんいる。マキセ・クリス。私にとってマキセ・クリスがそういう人物だった。彼女の佇まいを見れば彼女の才能を感じることができた。彼女の中から溢れ出るアイディアの数々にいつも刺激をもらっていた。彼女と共に研究ができることが私には誇らしかったけれど、彼女にとって私がどういう存在だったのか私は知らない。改まって聞くのも気恥ずかしかった。いつか何かのついでに聞ければいいなと思っていたけれど、2010年7月28日、マキセ・クリスはこの世を去った。彼女にとって私がどういう存在だったのか、それを知る機会は永久に失われた。ボルフガング・アマデウス・モーツァルト。生前彼を終生のライバルだと考えていた人物が彼のすぐそばで生きていた。その人物の名はアントニオ・サリエリ。ビクトル・コンドリア大学の学内ネットワークでの私のアカウント名サリエリは彼の名から取っている。クリスが亡くなった数週間後、研究所のネットワークシステムが更新され、その時につけた名前だ。生前クリスと共に開発し、今なお研究を続けているソフトウェアの名に対応させたかった。それ以上の意味はない。そのソフトウェアの名前はアマデウス。このニューラルネットワーク型人工知能に天才作曲家の名前を与えたのはレスキネン教授だ。当時私はそのネーミングをとてもいいアイデアだと思ったはずだし、今でもそう思っている。そう思っている。アマデウスとサリエリ、クリスと私、その二つは私にとって特別な意味を持った対応だった。私はマキセ・クリスが大好きだった。私はクリスを尊敬していた。私はクリスに憧れていた。私は
So welcome to the first bad ending, Twin Automata. The sense of dizziness that I'd experienced so many times before slowly faded. I was standing in the middle of the room holding my phone. There was no question that was reading Steiner. The world line had changed, but why? What was the cause? Was it that message from Amadeus? No. I'll worry about the cause later. For now, I needed to know what was going on. I looked around the lab. The place hadn't seemed to change much, but several people were missing. The missing ones were Kaede, Fubuki, and Ferris. Dara was sitting in front of his PC like always. And Mayuri was in the kitchen making instant coffee. She handed the steaming hot coffee to Maho, who was sitting on the sofa.
真帆さん、はい、コーヒー。
So we lost 3 people and we gained a Maho.
ありがとう。いただくわ。
Maho? Maho was here at the lab? Before the world line changed, we should have been at her office in Wako City.
よく考えたら、今朝から何も口にしていなかったわ。あんなことがあったんだから、無理もないよ。何か食べる？唐揚げとかバナナとかお菓子ぐらいしかないけど、それともお弁当を買ってこようかな。あ、ピザを取るのもいいかも。ありがとう。でも大丈夫。
Mayuri slowly expanding her food to now include pizza.
それにあんなことがあった以上ホテルを変えないと。手続きが必要だろうからしばらくしたら戻るわ。
今日は休むべきじゃね？顔色も良くないし、なんならラボに泊まっていけばいいよ。ちょうど鈴葉もいないし、今なら貸し切りなけん。
I listened for a while, but all I learned was that something bad had happened to Maho. She was staying here for a while. Did it have something to do with Amadeus being taken over?
ヒアジョーさん、一体何があった？
Maho, Daru, and Mayuri all seemed stunned at the
何
question.
かって？
いや、状況を整理したくてな。アマデウスはどうなった？接続は回復したのか？
I tried asking, but Maho just frowned as if she didn't know how to answer. That mean that Amadeus wasn't taken over at all in this world line? From Moeka. Come on, Okabe. There's nobody in the Wako City office right now. For real. And we can't respond to that.
桐生萌えか。
Why would she be sending me a Rhine?
そう。
I screamed when I realized that Moeko's right behind me.
どこから現れた？
That's not creepy at all. Been behind you the whole time. Sure, I may not stand out much, but seeing you look like you just ran into a ghost kind of hurts, you know? Angry roars.
ずっといたのか。
When did we put you on Rhine?
いた。
That mean I'd told Moeka she could come into the lab? What was going on here?
無人ってどういうことだ？
Oh, and I guess I can move my head back up. He's probably talking about the Brain Science Institute's office in Wako City. No one was there?
してるから。
閉鎖？
Moeka's fingers raced over the phone. I just explained this. There was a gas leak at the lab yesterday. The facility's been locked down until they determine the cause. Dr. Hyajo and Professor Leskinen have moved their lab to Tokyo Denkai University in the meantime. Why is there a jealous bear? Why? I don't understand the jealous bear image. I didn't remember that. The world line change must have altered the past.
それでヒアジョーさんはここに？
言ったでしょ。それもあるけど、今朝ホテルの部屋が荒らされたって。それでやむなく桐生さん経由で岡部さんに連絡を取ったのよ。忘れたの？
よく無事だったな。泥棒とは出くわさなかったのか？
ええ、運が良かったわ。桐生さんのおかげとも言えるわね。不幸中の幸い。
That's how? kind of understood how Maho had arrived
ところ
here.
でかがりはどうしてる？
Dara looked at me again, confused. But Mayuri smiled.
今頃岩手かな。家族の人に会えてるといいね。
Iwate? Why Iwate? Where did that
家
come
族の
from?
人が見つかったのか？
それでルカ君とルカ君のお父さんとあとすずさんと4人で会いに行ってるの。
鈴葉がついてるから大丈夫っしょ。
家族岩手。
Things had changed more than I'd imagined. Gari was in Iwate. That meant that we hadn't been attacked last night, too. Instead of attacking Kagari, they hit Maho's hotel room. This was getting confusing. I knew it would make her think I was a weirdo, but I had Maho explain to me what happened once more. From what she said, most of yesterday hadn't changed much. Maho, Daru, Fubuki, Kaide, Nai, and I had all gone to Yanabayashi Shrine. We needed an excuse to show all of them in their costumes again. Lukiko, Mayuri, Kagari, Suza, and Ferris were all helping at the shrine in their priestesses' outfits. That fit with what I remembered. After that, we went to Lukiko's house and had a small New Year's party. And then Lukiko's father shared some surprising news with us. Found out that someone who might be a relative of Kagari's lived in Iwate. Everyone was excited because if they found a relative, it might be the key to getting Kagari's memories back. So early this morning, Lukiko and Suzuha went with them to Iwate. Meanwhile, Maho had gotten a call from Dr. Leskinen on her way back from the party. That's when he told her about the gas leak at the office in Wako City. One of the pipes on another floor had some sort of problem, and a small amount of poisonous gas had leaked out into the air. They didn't know what the cause was right now. Until they knew the cause, they decided to shut down the office for safety reasons. Depending on what they found, it could take anywhere from a week to a month to resolve the issue. Maho had a lot of work to do because of the office's closure. She was out working until morning. Then, when she went back to the hotel room and slept until she was woken up by a call around 10 a.m.
桐生様という方がロビーでお待ちです。そっか。今日は雑誌の取材があるんだったわ。でも着いたらスマホに連絡くれるはずじゃ。バッテリーが切れてる。昨日の騒動のせいでホテルに戻ってから充電するの忘れてたわ。
She'd fallen asleep without even changing clothes. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and left the room wearing the same outfit she'd had on last night, and just toilet paper on her desk. Always a class act. She grabbed her bag, which held a bunch of her documents and her computer, since she thought she'd need it for the interview. In the end, that was what saved her. Oh cool, I still have my phone open. Wait, I can't close my phone! Well, my phone's just open now. Okay, it's so we can see Mocha chatting in real time. There were so many people in the lobby that I didn't think I could conduct a good interview.
部屋に入ったらたった数分の間に空き巣が入り込んで部屋中を荒らし回った後だった。ご丁寧にベッドも枕もナイフで裂かれてて部屋が綿まみれになってたわ。ダメね、私気が動転しちゃって何もできなかった。
Afterward, I called the front desk and then the police. The police got done with their questioning. Dr. Yadger still hadn't calmed down, so I decided to message you and have her rest at the
何か
lab.
盗まれたものは？
警察にも言われて確認したけど特に何も取られていなかったわ。財布もバッグに入れてあったし。
部屋を開けている時間短かったから。
ええ、それで空き巣も長居できなかったのかもしれないわね。
ヒアジョーさんならまず狙われるのはお金とかよりも研究データとかじゃないか？
それも大丈夫。データや資料は全部大学のサーバーに入っててパソコンの中には何も残らないようにしてあるの。
あれは
あれって？
例のノートパソコンとハードディスク。
I didn't need to tell her that I was talking about the ones that had belonged to Krisu.
大丈夫。
Maho pointed the bag sitting beside the sofa.
それもバッグに入れっぱなしだったから。
そうか。
それにあれは仮に盗まれたところでパスワードがわからない限り中身を取り出すのは不可能よ。
空き巣の狙いは何だったんだろう。
産業スパイの類なら PC とか書類とかでしょうね。
オフィスのガス漏れの件は関係していると思うか。
さあ、どうかしら。
Maho's smartphone rang. It was plugged in at the corner of the room, charging. Evidently, it charged enough to turn back on. Maho put her coffee on the table and stood up. Moeka looked at her, worried.
大丈夫？
ええ、ありがとう。
Maho took the phone from the charger and looked at it. But she quickly glanced back at
クリス
me.
からだわ。
And I think that's where we will call it for tonight.